All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the ION's Super Demo Day Tech Talks. We're so excited to be here. I am actually standing in the ION building. It's super hard to believe. Right outside, we've got our flex area, chairs, tables, lunch, a few startups. I am in a conference room at the moment. We are broadcasting live from the ION. So thank you all for joining on Zoom. We're so happy you're here. Without any further ado, I would love to introduce our startups coming from the ION Smart and Resilient Cities Accelerator Cohort 3. I can do a 3, not 2, 3. And the ION Aerospace Innovation Accelerator for Minority Business Enterprises. We will have a chance today to hear short, sweet tech talks from these startups. Our first startup, I'd like to call to the virtual stage, Moonshot, to talk to us a little bit about food, composting, and turning waste into something a little more sustainable. So Moonshot, come on up. We'll give you a little bit of a drum roll and applause. And I'll welcome you up to the stage.
Hey y'all, I'm Joe.
And I'm Chris.
Good to meet y'all. Excited to be here with all the colleagues that we've met via Zoom for the last several weeks, and it's good to be in person. So
yeah, and the ION is everything we had hoped it would be. It looks beautiful here. And we're excited to tell you all a little bit about our story and how a couple of guys that got into the compost business have some tech ideas as well.
And we're not brothers. We got that a lot early on in the pandemic. We always wear hats and our mask, and people would always ask if we were related. Obviously, I'm a lighter shade of brown, and Chris is obviously Caucasian, but it was a funny story every time. But,
yeah, we got that a lot. But we are brothers-in-law. We're married to sisters, so we are family in that way.
I don't think our wives would have let us start this with anybody else.
Yeah,
You're leaving your corporate attorney job to be collecting food waste, and my BD background in transportation. I don't think they would have appreciated that news with anybody else. So
yeah,
they obviously trusted us to do this, and we needed their support. And it was a great thing to have our wives obviously backing us up.
and you know, it was so funny the way we met the ION before the pandemic. It feels like 20 years ago. We were looking for a hot desk back when the ION was in their old space. And the meeting we set up for that very quickly turned into, why don't you guys come in and start collecting food waste from us? And after that, they said, and there's also these accelerators we have, and y'all should keep an eye on those.
And we were still making a plan. I guess I'm going to touch on that because we were looking for a hot desk. Chris came in and talked to Stuart, I believe.
Yeah.
And she said, I think this is something we'd want to do as an office as well. We hadn't really started the business, but still, Chris put together a snazzy 10-page proposal, which
we don't have to talk about that. We can just skip that part. We can skip that part. They're shorter now.
Yeah, they're one pagers now. I don't think they were read, but it was still a funny story that we look back on now. So
yeah, but we're super excited to be in the Smart and Resilient Cities Accelerator. You know, what we found is that the business plan we had put together to help Houston divert food from the food waste fits squarely with what cohort 3 of this accelerator was trying to do, which was to help the city meet its climate action plan goals and the resilient Houston strategies. And so what we do is to help Houstonians, both businesses and residents, keep food out of the food waste by turning it into compost.
That's right.
The benefits of compost help us live safely with water. It helps with the circular economy. And it also extends the life of our landfills, which is a really big deal, a challenge that Houston is facing right now. And so we felt, man, we have to get into this cohort. It's exactly what we do.
Yeah, reading the application, we're like, wait a minute, I think this is for us. And, you know, we filled out the application, and, you know, a few weeks later we heard back, and we were pretty excited. Nervous, of course. It felt like we were starting college again, but it was super exciting to be able to collaborate with the people and the connections and the mentors. I think I see Yared's on there as well. So it's just been great. And but yeah, like Chris mentioned, the carbon capture and the circular economy, it fell into place with our mission as well, to be able to, you know, capture and collect food waste to be turned into compost instead of going to the landfill. And we know that's a problem here in Houston. They're filling up pretty fast. And talking about circular economy. If you want to get a good cry, we reached out to, or Chris reached out to the hymn. It's the Heights Interfaith Ministry about
The food pantry.
the food pantry, yeah, to collect some of their food waste, because they get a lot of food that's donated to them, and a lot of that isn't, you know, top shelf, but it's still good enough to give out to folks that need it. But there's still stuff that isn't up to par, so they were setting it in the landfill or sitting in their trash can. Chris reached out to them, and Terry out there, it's just her energy, her passion to continue to help Houstonians is just amazing. But we set her up. It's something we're doing just free of charge, as long as, you know, she's diverting the food from the landfill. And in those conversations, you know, came the partnership that they have with St. Mark's Garden. It's an urban harvest farm next to the church there. And the food that is grown at that garden is donated to the Ham Food Pantry. So it's just a circle of giving back and closing that loop there.
Yeah, and our subscribers' food waste
That's right.
becomes compost that we donate to that community garden as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're helping to close that gap. We have a similar setup at our another urban harvest community garden called the Montrose Urban Food Farm. We're donating compost there that's created from our subscribers' food waste. Scott Howard is growing unbelievable produce that he's selling into the community for Houstonians to have access to, you know, very healthy, nutrient-rich produce. Many of those customers are our subscribers, and so those nutrients are just being recycled here in Houston. And we envision a network of gardens like that across the city, where Houstonians' food waste is being redeployed as compost and growing more nutrient-rich food here in Houston. But the really exciting thing, you know, something that we've learned in this last year that was eye-opening, commercial food waste is where 50%, according to the city, 50% of the waste is generated. So the other 50% is residential. But there's so many fewer businesses than there are residents in the city. And so when it comes to the best way to collect food waste, although we obviously want to help any resident that wants to do it, it's the commercial creators, generators of food waste where we can do the most good. And just as an example, you know, we have over 250 residential subscribers, about 15 commercial subscribers. Those commercial subscribers generate about 90% of what we collect.
Yeah.
And so when you extrapolate that out over the city, we think that if we can develop technology that helps create a networking effect for more residents to join, for more commercial subscribers to join, we can very quickly build infrastructure so that Houston can try to meet its target to reduce residential waste to the landfill by half by 2040.
And it's a huge win. Like you mentioned, the commercials are going to be generating the biggest volumes, and that's going to be easy to, you know, divert. And it's something that we, you know, we weigh and we record everything that we've collected. And that's what makes us excited, is what we're bringing up to the table. We've got the drop-off locations already, so we know there's an interest with Houston residents. But what's really getting us excited is being able to give the businesses and the residents a megaphone, I guess, if you will, to be able to communicate that with each other in our technology, where we're going to have, well, I guess we already have a QR code for the residents to be able to look up what their neighborhood's doing, how many residents in their neighborhood are diverting, what that neighborhood, I guess, the total, and other neighborhoods in the Houston area.
Yeah, so we're creating a way for neighborhoods to compete against each other in terms of how many people and how much waste they're diverting. And we're creating a way for businesses to be able to see how many of their customers in their immediate area care about this.
Yeah, they share the same values.
That's right.
They're sharing the same values, and it's obviously talent acquisition too for these businesses as well. You know, even our employee Rachel, she found us. She shares the same values, and she wanted to work for a company that had the same initiatives as us. So we know there's a younger generation of people that really value and care about the earth. And
yeah, so I think over the next 2 or 3 years, the things we're most excited about is just seeing how our technology helps us develop and grow our business here in Houston, continuing to weigh everything we collect so that we can have evidence of you know, how far our reach is growing, and just, continuing to learn more from the customers we're working with about how to develop technology that helps them to meet their goals as well as the city's goals.
That's right. And I think for the most part, are we good with time, or should we continue? Well, I wanted to mention that also twice a year, we do give compost back to our residents and businesses. So in October, in the fall, and in the spring, and some of our residents don't have use for compost. And so what they do, they opt to donate that to a local garden that we partner up with. And here this spring, we donated to 9.
That's right.
9 local community gardens that are helping, underserved areas in Houston. And so we love to hear it. We're meeting the best people, I feel, in the Houston area that are sharing the same, I guess, ways that we feel. So
yeah. All right.
Well,
thank you very much again to the audience.
All right, so I will thank Moonshot again for presenting their story about how they're using networks, sustainability, the power of the community, all of these great initiatives to keep our world sustainable. So we're thrilled to have Moonshot here. You can go ahead, you'll have a chance to see their 4-minute pitch tomorrow, so stay tuned for that as well. But the next startup that I'd like to welcome up to our virtual stage takes us not from this world, but to the next. So if you have ever dreamed of being an astronaut, of going from the ground to the sky, of perhaps even taking a drive in a flying car, then you will want to listen to what Shern Peters, who is right behind me, has to tell you. I'll turn the stage over to him, but before I do, I'll put this in speaker view. Maybe I won't actually. Oh, maybe I'll leave it as that. I'm trying to get rid of the ION branding, but we'll leave it like that for now. Make sure you know who we are, what we do. We're the ION. We're accelerating innovation and connecting communities. So Shern, go ahead. Come on up to the stage.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Excuse me, happy Tuesday. I am Shern Peters, sometimes Cut a Smooth EP Digital. And I'm real good to be here. I'm here with the team, Atum, Jay Nicole. I'm sorry, I'm in the way. But yeah, like Christine said, we are building urban air vehicles, flying cars. And essentially got the question today for presenting of what the next 2 or 3 years in Houston, what excites us about that. For me, it falls on a few things, right? There's an external. So for Houston itself, I'm thinking there's going to be a lot more autonomous vehicles, a lot more robots within life and within jobs in your career. I was just speaking to a college about AI and training their AI on their students, and those students implementing that into the industry, all of that coming together. And all of that technology is within our products, but all of that coming together in the next 2 to 3 years is something that I definitely look forward to. With that, now Nanko Aero, now that really gets me excited because we got a lot of products in the works. So one, Space City Center of Excellence. So a training facility. I look forward with great excitement, training pilots, not only for drones, but for every advanced vehicle to get into the air. So a lot of you out there also have ideas. I know for a fact, I'm not the only person with flying car ideas. I've met a few and some more are you. I want to set up a space for all of us to come together, and that hub that will create the things that that group of people will make. That is what excites me, because that's the future. And Houston Space City is essentially ushering in that future next 2 to 3 years. Outside of training, now the most excitement obvious is the building of a flying car. The first of its kind, the first flying car in Space City. built by a team from Space City. Now that is going to be the most excitement ever because I love building stuff. I'm an engineer. I love tinkering, hacking, all that stuff. And to put all of these systems together is going to take the engineering excellence of the future. So the people that I've met around Houston are already excellent. The ones that will come to the center of excellence will be even more excellent. And that's what it will take to create this best vehicle to increase the mobility of many people worldwide. But just something that's never been done before, right? I'm an inventor, right? Little things, it was just an idea, And going from idea up here to something physical and tangible is beautiful. I love that too. To all the entrepreneurs or inventors out there, I love that, how you can go from idea to something tangible, then take that tangible to a lot of money, wealth, but from nothing to something is one of the greatest feelings. So going from this idea of an urban air vehicle to an actual real life working vehicle, safe and comfortable, engineering, putting that together is what I can't wait for the next 2 to 3 years. I think I got a lot of people excited about it, and it's real. It's real. It's not just an idea. So that's the even better part. It's not just imagination. We're here now. This is the Jetson era in Space City in the next 2 to 3, 4 years. So Fly Houston 2025 is essentially what I come to talk about. Now, if you have any questions for me, go ahead and shoot them out. But essentially, I just come to give that message of the vision of these next few years of putting this together. It's going to be a beautiful one. And I hope everybody can join us at nanco.aero. That's NANCO.aero, AERO. We are looking for pilots. So be the first to fly. So sign up for simulation, and we're going to train you from small vehicles all the way up to our full-scale flying car. That's what I have for you today.
I'm going to ask some questions.
So
how can they get in touch with you? LinkedIn, website? What's the best way to be a part of what you're doing?
Website is the best.
Okay.
Log on to the website. Either forms, we're getting all of the contacts. We'll reach out directly to you. And that's the best way. NANCO, NANCO.AERO.
Do you ever ask for any mentors or anything that you're looking for to help you guys along this path?
Now, right now, we are looking for mentors, somebody to lead us, to legal counsel. One, we're in talks, we're interviewing. So if you are, we're, looking for you, as well as mentors for guiding us through large investments, large contracts, because this is pretty big, getting a lot of interest. So helping us through the money and protecting us is the largest, most important mentor that we need at the moment. So, and of course, we need pilots.
Yeah.
Pilots. Everybody, if you like to fly and you're interested in flying, come talk to us. We're looking for you.
So that's what I was going to ask. Is it pilots to take your opportunity or your technology somewhere, or actual pilots? Because those words can get
Yeah.
So you want plane pilots?
Well, we want plane pilots to
Okay.
test, as well as early adopters of our pilot programs. Yes, so we are launching trainings this summer. So we got summer camps going on for kids to start, just starting out. But testing out our drones, testing out our simulation systems, those pilot programs, early adopters, and that's whether you're an actual licensed pilot, flying pilot, or not.
Yeah. So let's talk about why you're in this space. So you're a serial entrepreneur. This isn't your first business. I saw you guys showing your other one here. So this is something you're passionate about and have a history of doing. So tell us a little bit how you came upon this passion and why you're so excited about where this is going.
The passion for me starts with inventing. I love inventing. I started out Mr. Wizard. Y'all remember Mr. Wizard?
Yeah.
So I love science, and he taught me how to invent stuff. And I'll be the crazy kid. After the show's done, I'll go and try it out. Became an act, creating stuff, coming up with ideas. I love, again, the idea, then making it real is such a joy to me. once you go to school, once I went to school, learned how to produce things. Now, for all you inventors out there, engineers, there comes a important part that you need to know, and that's the business. You can't just go around inventing, creating new products. You got to learn the business in it. So when I came excited about entrepreneurism, because, hey, I love inventing. I can come up with products, but also need to be able to do something with those products, or else it's just a hobby, an expensive hobby at that. So I merged the two, inventing, entrepreneurism, to build wealth. Obviously, I follow a lot of inventors who sell their products for multi-millions of dollars, what have you. Of course, I love inventing. I should get that wealth as well. But in terms of flying cars, it was a mission. I had the idea in college long ago, and at the time I thought it was too small. So over time, went to work, learned how to do it, and just some in this city, Space City, just like, hey, Sharon, you have this special idea for this Space City. You can really do it. And it just, the spirit of Houston just kept speaking to me, speaking to me, speaking to me, speaking to me. Like, the engineering, you've learned the entrepreneurism, and now it's time. Flying cars.
Right before we close out, would your two wonderful part of your team, would you guys like to introduce yourselves? So you have a fantastic team supporting you, and I know just a few people are here today. So please take a moment, introduce yourselves.
Sure. My name is Jay Nicole. I am with the marketing team for Nanco Aero. And all I want to say is flying cars for all. We want everyone to have them, everyone to use them to benefit their lives in the best way possible.
Hello, I'm Matumra. I'm with the team. Happy to be here, and just look for us in the future. Nerdpreneurism, Nanco Aero, we're taking over the skies. See you in the sky.
Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you guys.
All right, Nanco Aero, thank you so much for being here.
Well done. Love it.
Before we call up our next startup for our tech talk, Courtney and I thought, you know what, we might as well introduce ourselves. So my name is Christine Galeb. I'm Senior Director of Programs at the ION, and I oversee our accelerator programs, the ION Smart and Resilient Cities Accelerator, the ION Aerospace Innovation Accelerator for Minority Business Enterprises. I also oversee our workforce development mentor programs, and then I also work with a broad range of stakeholders in our ION academic network. So truly, I have a very unique job, and I have the best team in the world. I have two other teammates who are not here with me today, but I would like to turn the mic over to Courtney Cogdill, who is my partner in crime for all things Accelerator. So Courtney, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Courtney Cogdill. I'm looking at our guests, and I see quite a few people I know. So hi, I hope you guys can make it to the ION in the coming weeks. As Christine listed the accelerators, I won't say them all over again, but we are celebrating two of them here today, our third cohort for Smart Cities and our very first for aerospace. So we are just thrilled to be here, to be in person a little, to be at the ION and really see it taking shape. We're in a small room and not out in the big room, because I doubt anyone wants to hear our construction noises at the time, but we can attest to the fact that these rooms are very soundproof and could be fantastic for your future meetings. So thank you. I've been with the ION about 2 years, and before that, I've been in the innovation ecosystem with TMC, and I'm just so excited for everything we are on the cusp on. And I know I could throw out a few more buzzwords about collaboration, innovation, all of those, but we show it and not just say it here at the ION. So we are so proud of the companies along the path we've had. And next up is one of our companies who is a part of the Smart and Resilient Cities Accelerator. And part of that we do in partnership, I'm using a lot of keywords, what we do, with the city of Houston. And we do that by taking notes and taking recommendations from the Resilient Houston and Climate Action Plan. So Fractal, you do so much that falls in line with that. So I will let you take it over from here.
Hi, everybody. As Courtney mentioned, I'm Jonna Porter. I am the founder and CEO of Fractal. And this is going to be really, really casual. I just want you to close your eyes for a second and take a deep breath. Visualize the space that you're in with your eyes closed, your personal space, a bit beyond that. And think about the things that are around you. After you sort of compile that list, then move outside of that to where you were maybe an hour or so ago. If you haven't moved, if you've been stationary, think about maybe 2 hours back. The things around you, the room, the building, what you're carrying, what you're holding, where you're seated, just sort of make a mental note. And finally, think about 2 hours from now. That's where our minds are anywhere, right? In the future. Think about that. Now, open your eyes, review the list. It's probably the gym, your car, restaurant, your house, the street. I'm willing to wager that roughly 60% of the physical things that you encounter are made up of thermoplastic elastomers, or TPE for short. And so I'm just gonna call it TPE, but you tell me at the end of this what your percentage is, right? You can start Googling now. So TPE are ubiquitous. They're in every aspect of our lives. And I know that I use that word loosely, humans use that word loosely, but this is really a calculable amount. They're used in automotive applications, athletic applications, construction, consumer goods, electronics, general manufacturing, including 3D printing applications, just really everywhere. So what are thermoplastic elastomers? Excuse me, it's really just a long way of saying a combination of two basic polymer types. And by polymer, I just mean repeating units of monomers, right? So just think a long chain of repeating units. That's really all it is. So polymers are found throughout nature. So think about silk or your hair or DNA, protein, all those things are polymers, right? So thermoplastic elastomers are, like I mentioned, composed of two basic polymer types. One is the thermoplastic type, which really just means that heat causes changes in the structure of the polymer. And when the heat is removed, the polymer can go back to its original shape, right? The other type is an elastomeric rubber, and it's a thermoset, which really just means that once the actual form is set, it's set, right? So it's in the name. So you have these two types of polymers. Imagine plastics. You're familiar probably with polypropylene or polyethylene, those plastics that we use day to day, and then synthetic rubbers like in your tire. So think of those and think of them in a matrix. As much as humans like to sort of hybridize things and compound things, these two do not want to be in the same space together, right, at all. Typically, what needs to happen is a mediator. A third party has to come in, a fourth or fifth party, and that's also a polymer. And so this external polymer comes in and sort of holds their hands and makes them play nice. And it's this matrix that allows for stability and allows for that thermoplastic elastomer to work and to stay in the state that is required for the application. So think of this as like a salad dressing, right? So you have your oil and you have your vinegar, and you shake it vigorously, and then there's this sort of time-bound matrix that is created. A thermoplastic elastomer is that matrix, right? That temporary emulsion, but there are ways to keep them together. Like I mentioned, that third party. But Mother Nature is the best designer, undefeated, and has established ways for us to incorporate that third-party polymer without using synthetic polymers. So if you think of plants, if you remember your high school biology class, you remember that plants are comprised of lignin, cellulose, and hemicellulose, right? Those are polymers as well. All plants have them. It just depends on the type of plant. It's like a fingerprint. Each plant has a different sort of makeup. And in that fingerprint, it causes the application to be different, right? So if I use cellulose or hemicellulose or lignin from a tree, it would be different from a flower or a piece of fruit, right? So what does all that have to do with thermoplastic elastomers and my smartwatch band, right? You're asking. It really gives us an opportunity to build things better. We can integrate these naturally occurring polymers, such as plants, which are usually the byproduct of food processing streams or waste from agricultural products, and incorporate them into products that we've already created that would necessarily be diverted to landfills. So rubber, plastics that we mentioned earlier, using all three and create that long word that we talked about in the beginning, thermoplastic elastomers. And in doing so, we are able to create advanced materials. And as we mentioned, because of the fingerprints of the different types of plants, those advanced materials will take on different characteristics, right? And then we can also have a more friendly matrix because we use Mother Nature, the biomimicry associated with that. We understand how polymers are formed, and we can make better decisions on the processes that we make in the future. This allows us to use more and more recycled materials, more upcycled materials, and post-industrial waste, because again, the matrices that we create are friendlier and more accepting to that. And we really should just be good stewards of what we've already built, right? That's really the whole purpose of this. So now that your eyes are open and you know what a TPE is, tell me or think about what your percentage is. Put it in the chat for Courtney to see what the percentage is that you can think of, right? Like I'm looking at a computer, so probably the case for the computer. I see smartphones in the room. Smartphone is an example. Yeah. I see some reusable cups and mugs, right? Courtney says sustainability, right? My glasses, right? Shoe soles, exactly. The furniture in here, you can't really see it, but it's made of those things. So just as you go about your day, think about that and think about ways that we can build things that are better. Thanks. Oh, wait, I forgot to show it. Yeah, so this is what our proof of concept looks like. This is a biomass waste stream, end-of-life tire rubber, and polypropylene, just so you guys can see it.
So tell us, how did you make that? Tell us the process. You can't tell us?
I can't tell you, it's a secret, it's a trade secret.
That's right, can you tell us when then?
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, I was in my kitchen. Not really. So part of our competitive advantage, I guess, is how we make it, right? So the amount of energy that we use or don't use, and the processes involved, right? But the three basic ingredients, as I mentioned, are end-of-life tire rubber, post-industrial polyolefins, plastics, and biomass waste streams.
So that was 2 weeks ago.
This is 2 weeks. It's crazy. It seems, you see my smile. Like, I'm still really excited about it. So yeah, thanks guys.
I have another question.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna keep you and keep asking.
Okay, yes, do that.
I just forgot it. Oh, the Padlet. Tell us, tell everyone how to vote for you. You put it out your newsletter.
So they put out a Padlet.
Mm-hmm.
Did you put the link in the?
I'll drop the link in the chat, but it's also on our social media, LinkedIn, all of that. But
okay, it's on my LinkedIn as well.
Yeah,
so there's a Padlet for everybody and all the accelerators. I would just recommend you vote for everyone. Everybody has a great idea.
So
no, I mean everybody's idea is
right.
great, right? So all three accelerators, and I think there's prizes involved with the people
for
that
the
win.
winner. I mean, maybe not. I mean,
We'll see.
Stay tuned.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, you can ask Christine or Courtney because they're the best. You can put it in the chat. I think my contact information is there. The website is fractal, FRAKKTAL.com. That's pretty simple. Yeah, that's it.
All right, so one last question.
You remembered?
No, that was the question I remembered, but I have a new one.
Okay.
So fast forward 5 years from now.
Yes.
Where would you like to be? What does that look like for you in Fractal?
Great question. So right now, Houston is the pilot city for Fractal. In 5 years, there would be at least 3 follow-on cities. So we could sort of establish the processes, because that's another one of our competitive advantages is building the manufacturing processes based on the industry that is in the city. So Houston has a different sort of makeup than say like Dallas or Daytona Beach. I don't know what I'm thinking. Is it time for a vacation?
I think so.
So, yeah, so it would just depend on what that city, the industries in that city are. And so in 5 years, those 3 beta cities will be rolled out and successful.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I know, it's like, where do you
Where
look,
do I-
right?
where do I-
We have so much going on. There's a voice behind it, but thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Of
And
course.
how to get in touch with you is the best? Email, LinkedIn, website?
I think email is great. It's just WE, like us together, at
Mhm.
fractal.com. LinkedIn is great too. I check that all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you, Donna. Yay! Everyone's virtually
right. All right, so we're rocking and rolling here, going through our tech talks. As you can see, very informal, very informative, very fun, very casual. So we're really proud of the startups in both of our accelerator programs. We operated the 2 cohorts virtually, rounding out kind of the pandemic and kind of slowly making our way back into the building. So our next startup actually blew me away because they said something that I have long suspected all along, but I never really quite knew what this meant in terms of harnessing it. So now that you're curious, I'm going to tell you, Terratonics says energy is everywhere. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh my God, it's around me. But Terratonics has developed a way to capture that energy and harness it for use. So without further ado, I will call up to the stage Terratonics to share their story and tell you a little bit more about what they do and what is possible.
It's a little bit cheeky. Is this good?
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, so I can start.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're live.
Hi, everyone, and hope you're enjoying the day so far. And my name is Forrest Lin, and I'm the senior consultant for the startup tech company, which name is Terratonics. And it's a small startup, but we have exciting solution for the clean energy. So basically, our solution is to convert the ambient RF and the radio frequency, or more broadly, electromagnetic wave into the useful DC energy to power the IoT sensors. So in the sense, we are replacing the battery and can reduce the environmental impact. And around us, there are all kinds of energy. And for example, everybody knows sunlight and the thermal waves. And for the radio frequency, it's just a different kind of EM signal, just sitting at the different frequency or the frequency or the wavelength band. And our device is or the discovery was made by the co-founder, Dr. Yi. And Dr. Yi Luo was a professor in Carnegie Mellon University when he was doing the research for the energy conversion. And he made this breakthrough technology. Compared to the existing technology, his discovery basically improved the efficiency more than 100 times. So this makes the very weak ambient and the noise or the EM signal level usable for us to generate useful energy. And we have our license and our patent has been granted, and we have the exclusive license from Carnegie and Mellon University. Now we need to turn to the application. And for the IoT or the Internet of Things is a very popular topic these days. And basically, these are the smart sensors with the internet and the capability. So you can see the result, collect the data in the real-time fashion. And typically, these IoT sensors are low power applications. So our solution, our harvester, is a perfect solution for this. And our harvester basically is a high frequency diode, and it follows the typical semiconductor manufacture process. The difference is Dr. Yi found some special material characteristic, and he figured out a new way for the processing and the step. So, and the result, we have this wonderful device for the energy conversion. And And around us, currently there are billions of IoT sensors. And by projection, by 2035, we will have about anywhere from 500 billion to 1 trillion and IoT sensors around us. Consider the cost of this. And if they all use battery, if you divided the 365, we have tens of millions of battery needed to be replaced and on the daily basis. On top of the logistic and operation cost, and we also have, a battery is not harm-free. Battery can generate a huge chemical pollution also, and waste, and the battery waste is a headache for everybody. So by using our technology, and we can get rid of this, and it's a huge financial saving. And also we have a very positive environmental and impact. And we will have a couple the specific number and cases and for this. And we participate the Shell's Game Changer and program, and thankfully we got the funding, and we developed and we used the funding, developed the prototype and validated the feasibility. And through Shell, and we learned for a single IoT sensor through its life cycle, the cost of replacing battery, doing the maintenance, everything is several $100s and per unit. If you have 100 of them, 1,000 of them, so this cost is huge. And so if you scale this up to millions to billions of sensors, and this is a huge solution, and by our understanding. And I have a wonderful image in front of us, but you guys cannot see it. And you can see this from City of Houston website. And they were generating a heat map for the citywide. And to generate that one-time data map, more than 100 scientists spend over a day driving around collecting data, then plot it out. But if you use our technology, it's low cost. You don't need those people driving around, and we can get the real-time data 24/7 from your cell phone, from your computer. So this is very meaningful to any city or to any government agency, or even the large company, if you have enough device and to use. And right now we are working on some pilot opportunity with City of Houston. Currently, we are concentrating on the energy sector and the sensor sector. And for the City of Houston, we are working on smart building and the transportation and communications through all the sensors. And in the future, and currently we are still in the transition between 4G and 5G. And the frequency range will getting higher and higher when we go to the 6G or 7G. And for the current 5G, the frequency range is about 30 to 40 gigahertz. In the future, when we're talking about the 6G, it will be 100 gigahertz and up. And for this high frequency, and our device advantage will be hugely advantaged compared to the other competitors, because our unique solution, the higher frequency is, and the higher our conversion efficiency is compared to the competitor. And this is our confidence and our secret, and we are proud to present this solution to everybody. And of course, on top of attracting funding, and we are looking for pilot opportunity, partnership, and with everybody. And on top of that, I forgot to mention one thing. And for the 5G and in the future, especially 6G, instead of broadcasting, because the frequency is higher, bandwidth is shorter, so every tower, the coverage will be less. So in that case, we will have more tower, and also they use some directional and energy transmitting. And so in that case, all the energy will be more concentrated. So by smartly using this technology, we have a much higher ambient EM and background and to use. Also, the energy and density is much higher. So it's all play advantage to our technology. And we are very happy for the technology and advancement. And I hope you guys like it, and we can get some help from industry and the government agencies. And thank you.
Fantastic. I have a question for you. So you talk a lot about a sensor. So
Uh-huh.
this can be implemented with something else, right? Like it can be plugged into an existing technology, or you can work with construction and get it put into the building. Talk a little bit about how those sensors can be implemented.
Oh, the sensor itself is a completely separate entity.
Mhm.
So the sensor basically collect the data, and it has a microcontroller, and to process the data and manage the power, and also and you have a transmitter. Transmitter is the most energy consuming unit in the sensor and in IoT sensor, because it need to find the internet, then collecting or receive the instruction or sending the data out, right? So the sensor itself is there, but the problem for all this are powered and need energy, and need power. And currently, most of them are powered by batteries.
Oh.
Yeah, and so this is our main motivation. And as I mentioned, and especially in some large power plant, you have thousands of sensors, and consider a couple of technicians, and they walk around. So most of the day they are just replacing the batteries. Yeah, so basically that's the financial cost, logistic, because they might need to climb up and down. And for the industry, safety is a huge issue. And also, and as I mentioned, the battery and the battery's chemical damage and to the environment is no less than oil and gas. And if you, and for example, right now the lithium and the battery, lots of industry use it. For the smaller one and the bigger one, even you go to the field, and you need to contact the government agency for transportation, even from your backyard. You need to get the permit. I have 100 units, 1,000 units. I need to send it to Oklahoma. To where? You need to get the permission. Then after that, they will tell you, after you finish using that, there is a site collecting on your battery waste. It could be 200 miles away. You need to drive a truckload of those batteries. As those kind of battery, you cannot throw it away and as you want. You have to go to the designated place, and God knows how they do that. So the huge impact for this is if we replace the battery, and the financial cost apparently, and also the battery manufacturer is a greenhouse generator as well, right? We are talking about the millions and the tons of the greenhouse and the gas. Also this chemical waste, we can get rid of this at one time.
And we're not even looking at the outlying factors of the pollution of the air while driving to take all of this, and the wear and tear on all of those. And I mean, it can, go farther and farther out.
Yes,
so.
yes. And also one more point is right now, all this EM signal, the TV station and the phone company, they are sending this energy out. But our phone only receive a small part of it, right? So I will say over 90% energy are wasted. And it absorbed by the environment. So if we plug this in, it's free energy, right?
Yeah.
That energy is there, just not being used. If we collect it, then this is the win-win situation to everyone.
So maybe you can help ERCOT not shut off our energy again.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Well, thank you so much. You did a fantastic job.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So next up, since we are going quite at unprecedented speed, and we think it's because we've had them practice their pitch who knows how many times, and they're probably speeding through it for these tech talks. But to help us understand a little more about the ION, and even probably teach myself a few things, is Alex Moreno. He is our corporate
engagement manager.
Thank you. And most of them. He's going to talk a little bit about the fantastic partners we have here at the ION, and possibly how others can get involved that are here with us.
Sure.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Courtney. And hello to everybody out there. As Courtney mentioned, my name is Alex Moreno. I'm the corporate engagement manager here at the ION. I work with our corporate partners, helping to get them involved with what the ION is doing and overall what the innovation ecosystem is doing here in Houston. So I'll talk a little bit first about our current partners, and then more about the benefits of partnership and how you might be able to get involved, or if there's a company out there that you think might benefit from partnership with the ION, please get them in touch with myself, with Courtney, with anyone here. We'll make sure we get them to the right place. The ION right now has a few founding partners. We have 3 of them. We have Chevron, Microsoft, and Baker Botts. Founding partnership is the highest level of partnership that we offer. These are for companies that are really tying themselves together with the ION and everything that we're hoping for. All three of these companies, our goals are aligned, our missions are aligned as far as pushing Houston forward into the tech and innovation world. Of course, Chevron and Microsoft really don't need much of an introduction. Baker Botts is one of the largest law firms in the country as well. So all three of these partners, not only do they receive benefits from the ION and what we're able to do here, but they're giving back to our community. So with Chevron and Microsoft, kind of the key thing is engagement with our startups, with these startups, not only in the accelerator programs that you've heard from today, but also kind of ones that we've historically worked with from our previous cohorts, and then all the future ones we'll be running with the accelerator program. And then on the second floor of the ION, of course, we'll have the big co-working space. So that is a benefit for any startups or companies that are looking to work out of the ION, is the fact that you'll be working in a building that has partnerships with Microsoft and Chevron, who will also be tenants here. So that is definitely helpful as far as trying to get noticed and get your company in front of some major players in the industries. And then Baker Botts, in addition to working with us and working with our startups, they offer services as part of their agreement with the ION. So that can be anything from providing office hours for anyone in our community to come in. If you need to talk to an attorney, instead of scheduling time and having to pay those billable hours, this is a free 30-minute consultation where you can pop in, ask a question. Hopefully they'll be able to answer it. If not, they'll direct you to someone who can, or tell you, maybe we need to take this to something more formal rather than just a quick office hours. So that's a broad overview of our founding partners. At another level, we have Intel, Merce Drilling, and BP Ventures, who are all partners as well. Again, they want to have their finger on the pulse of what the ION is doing, what our community is doing, and kind of the best ways to make sure that if there's an interesting startup here at the ION, or events, thought leadership, whatever it might be, they want to make sure that they're a part of it. And then I'll wrap up by talking a little bit about the benefits of partnerships, and feel free to, like I said, connect myself or Courtney if there's any companies that you can think of, or that maybe you work for or are part of that would like to be involved. Obviously, there's tying yourself and your brand with what the ION is doing here, with the innovation ecosystem being thought of as a thought leader in Houston and kind of at the forefront of what's coming next for our industries, and making sure that Houston is a preeminent tech destination. There's also the opportunity to host events, to utilize our forum stairs that we have, events up to 250, 300 people, be part of thought leadership events, get access to and engage with these awesome startups that you've heard from today, and just make sure that anything happening here at the ION, these companies are aware of and they're a part of. So that's about all that I have to say. I will pass it back along to Christine and Courtney, and thank you so much for allowing me to spend some time here. Thank you, Christine.
Awesome. Alex, thank you so much for giving us that talk. There is so much going on at the ION. We are so excited to finally be here in the building. It's quite a different world. I know there are chats coming in. I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to try and address some of those questions now. But we're so thankful that we have our corporate partners who are in this ecosystem, innovation, acceleration type of system with us. So thank you to our partners. I'm going to take a moment here before I introduce our last startup and just look at the chat box here. So give me a second here. We've got a lot of shout outs going on, which is great. And we're asking, how can students get involved in the ION? Any internship opportunities? So we do have an ION academic network, which is the colleges in Houston, the 2- and 4-year colleges in Houston. And you are welcome to come to the ION for any of our events. We do not have internship opportunities at this time. However, we do match you. If you want to be involved, we do work with Ampersand, which is a fabulous startup here that is a matching service, internships to the startups or corporations that take them. So that, I hope that answers that question. But if you're a student wanting to get involved, the best route is through our ION academic network, or some of our fabulous other partners in this work as well. So I do hope that answers the question. Our last startup for today, I will introduce, they are changing the game of aerospace. And if you've ever waited in an airplane for takeoff, if you've ever wondered, why can't this just go faster? Or maybe it's possible for the airplane not to take off on this type of trajectory, but maybe going right up into space itself. I would love to introduce Axial next to give our last tech talk for today. So come on up to the virtual stage. Vincent, we welcome you. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Christine. Hi, everyone. Hello, my name is Vincent, and I want to talk about public spaces, kind of mass transit systems, and I'm a big fan of mass transit, and I find them to be equivalent to public spaces in the sense that they help you interact with the society that you're in. If it's a city, you can sit there, play tourist, or you're going to work, and get to see the visuals and kind of just connect with the city. And I find it to be very, very beneficial. And so the Houston system itself, mass transit system, is very efficient. All right, we can use the scheduled rides, the typical scheduled rides, or for most of us, we might be more familiar with the park and ride systems. The one that, say, maybe you live in Woodlands and you take it during peak hours, get to work. And with the advance of electric air systems, we're beginning to see the push for urban air mobility. All right, these are mostly pitched as taxis. And with our technology and how it fuses with Houston is that it introduces the possibility of the potential and possibility of us having a mass transit system based on an air service, based on the air service system. In other words, you can have an aircraft that can take off from a park and ride center and bring you, say, for example, to the medical center. And this is a high capacity utility aircraft, right? And that is how we see our technology kind of helping Houston and kind of integrating with Houston. And additionally to that, it will also help in diversifying the city in terms of employment opportunity. Houston is known very well in terms of the oil and gas industry, and is also very, very well known in terms of the medical industry, especially with the medical center. We also know Houston for NASA, but then the pool of aerospace capacity within Houston is kind of small. And we see organizations like ours, as they grow, they expand that diversity of employment opportunities for engineers, for kids as they grow and as they mature. And therefore, in general, we are very optimistic about the relationship we can build with Houston in terms of expanding the technology opportunities and in terms of expanding the employment opportunities. And we look forward to more engagement, and hopefully you'll be part of us and join us. Look forward if you have any questions.
We've been asking questions. So
right, thank you very
I can
much.
ask you questions if you want to.
Go ahead.
The main thing is we're asking for, how do they get in touch with you? Is it your website? Would you like to provide an email or LinkedIn? How should someone reach out if they're interested in mentoring or being a part of your journey?
All right, so for me in person, I can just give you my email. You can reach me directly at kivuva@axonix.com. You can also reach us through contact@axonix.com, which is available on our website. We also have a LinkedIn page, right, Axonix, and we also have a Facebook page. You can reach us all through those mediums. And you can always get in touch with Ian if by any chance you can find me through all those avenues. And
you can find us.
You can always
and
find
then
Christine and Courtney. Yeah.
We're also doing the elevator pitch competitions. Do you want to talk a little bit about the process of to be voted for and all of that?
All right. So by elevator pitch, you mean?
The one, we put on the Padlet, and people can vote, and if you get a lot of votes, you get a prize.
All right.
Yeah, so plug your vote, why they should vote for you.
All right, so as users of let me use a more malleable word. As users of aircrafts, we typically find ourselves using airplanes which necessarily require runways to take off. And for that reason, we end up dragging and spending time on the runways. And our technology will help you take off vertically. So you will not have you not delay, you not get delayed on the runways, or you'll also be able to move much more efficiently between major economic hubs, because you don't need a runway to do that. And also you'll also be able to find a more quieter and smoother ride compared to what you typically get with a helicopter, right? And our technology will be able to distribute. The application will be able to go into military, emergency rescue and services, urban air mobility, especially for cities like Houston that are very distributed and widespread. And will also be able to be used for, it can also be used for unmanned system where we're talking about surveillance and maybe delivery of parcels or courier services. And in addition to that, because the aircraft will work with the electric version, motors and so on, it significantly reduces pollution. So we'll be able we'll be able to contribute towards, as users, both as manufacturers and users, will be able to contribute towards decarbonization of our planet. As we know, that's a very big problem. And so additionally, primarily, we can also save time in terms of urban air mobility, the urban air mobility concept, where we want to use aircraft to fly between suburbs and cities and major commercial centers. That helps us save time, and also help us in saving infrastructure development. As you know, roads are not cheap, both fix and maintain, but airports as hubs, ports and hubs, they can quite be more easily maintained and more permanent. So that helps us in that connection, and also cost, pollution, and also more comfortable rides and improving interconnection in general.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so thank you to all the startups that gave their tech talks today. We are live from the ION building here. We're super excited to be here. Like I've been saying, it's great to see my team after really only seeing them on Zoom for, since March of 2020, the longest 2 weeks of my life. It's great to see everybody on Zoom as well. I know we have kind of emerged into a new world where kind of anything goes. You can be on Zoom, you can be in person. We're thankful to be in person, we're thankful that you're with us on Zoom. So on that note, I will say that tomorrow we will be streaming our startups 4-minute pitches. So if you would like to see their pitches, do tune in tomorrow and you'll receive the links right before the event becomes available right into your inbox. So thank you all for coming today. Thank you for listening to our startups, and thank you for being a champion of innovation and supporter in the work that we do. I'm going to sign off for now, and I will see you at the ION. Have a great day. Take care, everyone.